When you walk through that door, you probably think you know what you are seeing. Your dog spinning, whining, launching themselves at you like you have been gone for a decade when it has been 4 hours, maybe 3. You smile, you call it excitement, you ruffle their ears and move on with your evening. But here is what nobody tells you. What is actually happening in your dog's brain and body in that exact moment has almost nothing to do with excitement. Scientists who have spent years studying canine neuroscience and attachment behavior have found something underneath that greeting that is so much larger, so much older, and so much more profound than the word excitement could ever hold. And when you understand what it actually is, you will never walk through your front door the same way again. Stay with me through this video because point 7 is the one that ties everything together. And once you hear it, the way you see your dog's greeting will change completely. 1. Their body is not celebrating. It is recovering. Watch the greeting closely next time. Really watch it. The spinning, the whining, the frantic energy that seems almost too big for their body to contain. We look at that and we see joy. We see a happy dog doing happy dog things. But researchers studying canine stress responses found something that reframes that picture entirely. When dogs are separated from their primary attachment figure, their cortisol levels, the body's main stress hormone, rise within minutes. Their heart rate increases. Their nervous system moves into a state of low alert that it holds, quietly, for the entire duration of the separation. What looks like pure celebration when you walk in is not your dog's happiness overflowing. It is your dog's nervous system finally, after hours of low-grade biological tension, being allowed to release. The spinning is not performance. It is decompression. The whining is not just noise. It is the sound of a system that has been wound tight all day, finally being permitted to let go. You did not just make your dog happy when you walked in. You ended something for them. And that is a very different thing. 2. Their brain releases its most powerful bonding chemical the moment they see you. In 2015, a study published in the journal Science found that when dogs and their owners made eye contact, both species showed a significant rise in oxytocin, the same bonding hormone that surges between a mother and her newborn child in the first moments after birth. But here is the detail that most people never hear. The oxytocin spike in dogs during reunion with their owner is not gradual. It is immediate. The moment your dog's eyes find your face, the chemistry begins. Before you have spoken, before you have touched them, before you have done anything at all, their brain has already begun releasing the neurochemical that humans use to bond with the people they love most. Think about what that means. Your dog does not need you to perform affection for the bond to activate. They do not need a treat or a game or a special voice. They need your face. Just your face walking through a door is enough to trigger one of the most powerful biological bonding responses in the mammalian brain. That is not excitement. That is recognition at a neurochemical level. And it goes both ways. Your oxytocin rises too. 3. They were holding on to you the entire time you were gone. Most owners imagine their dog napping contentedly, waiting peacefully, unbothered until the door opens. The research tells a different story. Studies tracking dogs during owner absence found that stress hormone levels remained elevated throughout the separation, not just at the moment of departure. But here is what stopped researchers. When recordings of the owner's voice were played to dogs left alone, cortisol dropped almost immediately, not at any human voice, specifically at the sound of their owner. A study from Emory University found that among all the scents presented to dogs in a controlled setting, only one triggered activation in the caudate nucleus, the part of the brain associated with positive anticipation and reward. That scent was the owner's. Not food. Not another dog they loved. The owner. Your dog was not simply waiting for you while you were gone. They were holding on to every trace of you that remained in the room. Your scent on the sofa. The echo of your voice in their memory. The anticipation of your return running as a quiet background process in their brain the entire time. When they greet you at the door, they are not starting something. They are completing it. 4. What they experience in your absence is closer to grief than boredom. This is the part most owners find difficult to sit with. Research into canine separation responses has identified behavioral and physiological markers in dogs left alone that parallel what we observe in humans experiencing grief or prolonged yearning. Reduced activity, disrupted appetite, heightened vigilance near entry points, vocalization directed at nothing visible. These are not the behaviors of an animal that is simply bored or waiting for dinner. They are the behaviors of an animal experiencing the felt absence of someone central to their existence. And if you go ahead and subscribe right now, every video on this channel goes this deep. This is what dog behavior actually looks like when you follow the science all the way down. When you walk back through that door, you are not arriving into a neutral space. You are arriving into a space that has been quietly oriented around your absence for hours. That greeting, all that energy and noise and full-body chaos, is not your dog being dramatic. It is your dog crossing back from one emotional state into another. And the relief of that crossing is so large, their body cannot hold it still. 5. The eye contact in that moment is doing something extraordinary. In the first seconds of the greeting, before the jumping settles and before your dog has fully processed that you are actually home, there is often a moment. A brief pause where they stop, look directly into your face, and hold it. Owners tend to overlook this because the chaos around it is so loud. But that moment is significant. Dogs evolved a left gaze bias specifically for human faces, meaning they instinctively focus on the left side of a human face first, the side controlled by the brain's right hemisphere where emotion lives. They are reading you. In the greeting moment, that gaze is not just recognition. Research suggests it functions as an attachment check. Your dog is scanning your face for emotional data. Are you well? Are you calm? Is everything all right? They are not just relieved you are home. They are checking on you. In the middle of their own overwhelming biological release, their first instinct is to find out how you are. Hold that thought for a moment, because it matters more than it first appears. 6. The spinning, the whining, the jumping. This is a language. Here is what it says. Canine behavioral researchers who have studied greeting rituals across breeds and ages have identified that the behaviors we casually label as excitement are actually a highly specific communicative sequence. The whining that begins before you have even fully opened the door is vocalization driven by anticipatory stress, the body trying to release tension before the source of relief has fully arrived. The spinning is a displacement behavior, physical movement used to manage an emotional state too large to simply absorb. The jumping is contact-seeking, an attempt to get as close to your face as possible because your face is the anchor their nervous system is oriented to. Taken together, these behaviors are not your dog losing control. They are your dog running through every communication tool available to them to express something for which they have no other language. Something that translates roughly as, the most important part of my world just came back, and my entire body needs you to know that. 7. This is not excitement, this is reunion. And your dog feels it the way you feel coming home to someone you love after you are afraid you might not. Here is the truth that the science builds toward when you follow it all the way to the end. Dogs do not have a concept of see you later. They do not have the cognitive framework to know with certainty that departure is temporary. Every time you leave, their nervous system responds to the absence of their primary attachment figure, without the reassurance that you are coming back. Every time you return, what happens in their brain and body is not the mild pleasure of something nice happening. It is the full biological relief of a feared loss that did not come true. Neurochemically, physiologically, behaviorally, what your dog experiences when you walk through that door maps far more closely onto what a human feels reuniting with someone they love after a frightening separation than it does onto simple happiness. That is what has been happening every single day, every greeting, every spinning, whining, chaotic, beautiful moment at the front door. Your dog was not just glad to see you. They were relieved in a way that goes all the way down to the chemistry of their brain. So the next time you come home tired, distracted, ready to move past the greeting and get on with your evening, stop for just a moment, kneel down, let them find your face. Because to them you just came back, and that has never been a small thing.